Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Lovick-Blazer, and I'm here with Ron Lichtsinn here at Lichtsinn Motors. We welcome you to today's webcast. Today we are talking about cooking with your convection oven. And Ron, interject at any point.
I certainly will. And again, welcome to all of you. Welcome to today's live webcast. We've got a great webcast set up for you. Today, we're going to walk through how to use a convection oven in your RV. We're live here at Lichtsinn Motors, and we are 1 mile north of the Winnebago, Itasca, and Winnebago Touring Coach Division of Winnebago Industries here in Forest City, Iowa, making us America's closest dealer to Winnebago, Itasca, and the Winnebago Touring Coach Division of Winnebago here across the country. I want to welcome Nicole Lovick-Blazer. She's one of our RV sales consultants. She is going to be our Chef Boyardee. She's going to be our Pillsbury dough girl, and maybe we can get a little giggle out of her here in a little bit.
There we go.
And we're going to have fun today. And what makes this fun is the fact that this becomes an interactive presentation with all of you, and we've had great success with all of you utilizing the chat feature in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. So as you're watching this, you'll see a chat box. And as we go through today's interactive presentation with Nicole, I'll interject any questions that we have as we go throughout the interactive presentation. We'll also archive this later. We've had great success with people viewing these after the fact when we do these. So I also want to welcome behind the scenes Josh Dam. Josh is our special events and marketing coordinator here at Lichtsinn Motors. Josh is also going to be interjecting with some questions in the event that I might miss one. So again, welcome Josh. And also just keep in mind that these live, high-definition, interactive presentations can be done at any point in time with any of our factory-trained consultants on any of our in-stock RVs. We're live in our all-new marketing booth here in our new RV dealership, which we actually just had the ribbon cutting and flag raising ceremony last week. So again, welcome to all of you. And Nicole, I'll give you the range, the convection. I'll give you complete control of the kitchen.
Well, you might hear a humming sound, and that's because we're preheating our convection oven. One of the things that I definitely recommend you do is go ahead and preheat. Most recipes do call for that, so it's very simple. There's a preheat mode on your convection oven. You'll just want to press it. It asks for the temperature that you want it, and so I've got it preheating to 400 degrees, and it looks like it's actually about ready. We're going to start off with orange roughy. Ron was pretty excited when I told him that that's what we were going to be making today. A white fish, and we're just going to season it with lemon pepper. So we've got a couple fillets here. We're going to be doing it in a glass pan. Sometimes people get nervous, you know, what kind of pan do I use? Well, it's really nothing to be worried about. Anything that you'd use in your regular oven, you can do in your convection oven. So let's see here. We've got this. We've got our seasoning.
Don't stop short. I expected like brownies or muffins or something like that, but you brought out the seafood.
I know. Well, you know, I wanted to show how easy it really is to do meat. We'll also be doing some brownies, but I also actually had done an egg bake right before we started. I put it in about an hour ago, and we'll get the chance to sample it here, see if it meets Ron's approval. So, easy. We've got it seasoned. We're just going to pop it in. Now, I will mention we've got two different levels of racks. We've got a little bit taller and a little bit shorter. Use the shorter one. This is ideal for the grilling mode, but use the shorter while doing any sort of baking. You're going to want to be very careful. It's very, very hot in there. Use your mitts. And Josh, I don't know if you can see this here, but we're going to go ahead and put it on convection mode. We're going to select our temp, and as I'm pushing these buttons, it's actually giving us directions what to do next. Select temp. I'm going to go ahead and do 400 degrees. It says enter cooking time. We're going to do this for about 12 minutes. And simply push start. And it's giving me those directions as we go. As I was taking a look, reading some material on how to use convection oven, one piece of advice kept coming up, and that was the 25 rule. You can reduce a normal regular recipe by 25% of the temperature or 25% of the time. Biggest piece of advice I would give is just don't walk away for too long. When you're new at this, you're just getting started, it's really important just to stick around, check on it every once in a while, make sure that it's not getting overcooked. And if you need to bump up that temperature a little bit, you feel like it should be cooking faster, you're here to do it. Give it a little bit of time. Within some reasonable time, you're going to be a pro at this, and it'll just be second nature.
And Nicole, if I can interject, we did have a question from one of our viewers, and thank you for doing that. We appreciate that. That's what makes these very successful, is the fact that we can make these interactive. The viewer wanted to know, they purchased their RV without any of the hardware that comes with the convection oven, whether it be the racks or the actual plate that's on the rotisserie for the microwave. Wanting to know if these can be purchased after the fact, and also maybe just touch on the fact that a lot of these are residential style appliances. So
absolutely. Yes, we've got a very, very similar convection oven in our break room that I was using to work on. These things can be purchased aftermarket. Of course, you've got these.
And Lonnie and David and Chris within our parts group, we help folks with parts from all over the country, and so we can certainly get the racks, whether they be the different size racks that you want, or certainly the plates that actually are utilized within the microwave mode. So great question, and please keep those questions coming in. That's what really makes these successful webcasts.
Absolutely. So I was kind of talking on that 25 rule, and again, it's just kind of a matter of staying within and checking. What are some of the benefits of convection oven cooking versus the microwave? In your microwave, you're going to have waves that are bouncing around, and until they hit the food, they do create a water molecule, which then hits the food and starts to heat the food. Whereas in the convection oven, you've got a fan that's circulating air. It's going to allow for just a more even cooked food. You won't have hot spots, it'll be even, and of course there's the option of the browning, which is really nice when you are working on a meat. You want a little bit of that crisp top. One of the biggest advantages, I would say, for our mini RV people is the space that it provides. As you can see, we've got our cooktop here, but then we've got drawers underneath. That really frees up some space where an oven would have been for pans, different items that you're going to be traveling with. So huge advantage that way.
Yeah, one of the greatest advantages, and you'll see this if you look at any of our high definition walkthrough videos that we actually have on our website. Typically what you'll see is a microwave and convection oven over the range top, just like you see in this Itasca Ellipse. But what that does is it frees up either a full drawer stack down below or a pot and pan drawer. And the advantage to that is you get so much more storage, yet you still have the capability to bake, brown, and roast just like a traditional oven. So it's a wonderful way to merge technology and free up storage in your new RV.
And we have a great question here from one of our chatters. Am I able to use metal in the microwave or convection oven? And also, can you use aluminum foil?
Good question. That's typically our #1 question.
Excellent. Well, when it's on microwave mode, of course you're not going to want to use the metal, but when it is on convection mode, you're fine to use metal. Aluminum foil, you are allowed to use that in the convection. You're not going to see the sparks like you do in the microwave. So again, great question. When you're looking at pans, we'll just expand on this a little bit. The more shallow the pan, the better. So, as I was kind of thinking about this, some of the pie tins are great. If you're cooking for a little bit less, they're very shallow. Again, I mentioned that we used the glass thing for this casserole. I guess we call this a casserole itself. So, speaking of which, what do you think, Ron?
It looks great, and what's interesting about this is Nicole did this actually earlier, and she was up doing some professional development in our training room, and she asked Josh and I to keep an eye on it. And that 25% rule that Nicole touched on is pretty darn accurate, because as we went down and looked at it, it was actually done a few minutes prior to when we actually thought it would be, based on the traditional recipe. So like Nicole touched on earlier, make sure you keep an eye on your convection oven as it is running, especially those first few times that you do it. Because this was done a little bit sooner than Josh and I had anticipated, so make certain that you do keep an eye on it. But I tell you what was interesting about it is that when we tested the inside of the egg bake, it was warm all the way through. And so as Nicole touched on, that convection technology of being able to heat the materials, but then also utilizing the blower fan to circulate that heat, will speed up your cooking time and really does a nice job. You can see it's nicely browned on the top. but it was still warm all the way through. So it really does a nice job, and it does take some experimentation, but hey, that's what RVing is all about.
Absolutely. What do you think? Should we give this a try, Ron?
I'm going to let you try it first.
Oh, he's not so brave. Let's see, I brought some forks along.
But we've got backups in case someone goes down here.
Josh, are you ready to take my place? My family might not say I'm the best cook. Typically, we do a lot of cereal, but egg bake is one of those standard must-haves. We do this quite a bit at our house.
Pretty quick. How long did that take?
It did. I would say about 25 minutes, maybe a little bit less.
And most of those that we do in our home typically run about 35 to 40 minutes on average.
I had it right around 350 degrees. So, all right, I'm gonna do this. Excellent.
Is it warm?
It is, and it's cooked all the way through. What I really like is that it's got that really nice kind of a crust just on the edges, and you're not going to get that in the microwave. That's something unique to the oven, and yet again, you're saving space and, of course, energy.
Yep.
So.
Ready for some questions?
Absolutely.
All right. Question about, could we have put the fish directly on the bottom instead of on the elevated grill?
Great. Absolutely. You could, and I'm just trying to avoid some cleanup. I'm a sneaky one. Oh, but yes, you can. You can put it right on. Many of these have a grill mode, so you're able to utilize that, and you're going to have a fish very similar to that you would have thrown on the grill.
All right, another question. Best place to find recipes for convection cooking?
That's a good question. Well, I will be honest. I sought out a recipe book, a cookbook for convection cooking, and as I was looking through it, I realized that the only difference was just that slight variation of temperature and time. And so I thought, why recreate the wheel? Use your favorite recipes. Just, limit that time a little bit or back down on the temperature just a little bit. Of course, for those of you who want to get the cookbook and try it out, I'm sure there's some great recipes to try, but I want to stick with my tried and true. There's too much. I gotta go with what I know.
Well, and part of the problem is, obviously there are convection cookbooks out there, and really the question becomes, what happens down the road then when I'm cooking and maybe I'm in my home and I don't know which one I'm using, and then I've got some disappointments down the road, because like Nicole said, the 25% rule is pretty darn accurate.
Absolutely.
And one more question we have, how many amps does the convection oven draw?
Good question, and I saw that chat question, so you saw me walk back into the hallway. One of the advantages that Winnebago Industries utilizes in a lot of their coaches is we utilize that Powerline energy management system. And what that does is it allows us to manage our amps, just as the viewer requested, wanting to know how many amps it's actually pulling. Now, the reason why at Winnebago Industries we use that Powerline energy management system is this is a 50 amp coach, but occasionally you might actually be out in an area where you can only plug into 30 amp service, or perhaps you're plugged into your driveway getting ready to leave, or as I do at our home, we have an in-law suite right in our driveway, but I only give them 15 amps. So the problem is that you're relegated to 15 amps or 30 amps, but what's advantageous about that Powerline energy management system is it manages your amperage for you. In the event that you might jump over that amount of amperage that you're plugged into, it'll actually shed appliances. And rather than throwing the breaker on your home, your resort, your campground, or wherever you're plugged in. I saw that chat question, so I jumped back to look. Right now, we're not running any air conditioning. We're running our convection oven. We're running the converter, which actually charges our batteries. We're also running our refrigerator, and we're pulling about 12 amps. Now that's all of those combined. On average, typically about 8 to 9 amps is a pretty good rule of thumb, but odds are you're going to probably have some other things plugged in. That's why in a lot of situations you might find when you're plugged into 15 or 20 amps or maybe even 30 amps that you do actually turn an appliance off before you plug it back in if you don't have that Powerline energy management system. But with here at Winnebago Industries, it'll actually turn those appliances off for you, the advantage is that it'll actually turn them back on when power is restored. So great question. Keep those questions coming in.
All right, I am just gonna.
One quick follow-up, Nicole.
Sure.
Can you actually put the pan directly into the convection oven without the raised metal platform?
You can. Now, as you think about a convection oven, that air is circulating around. So as it's elevated, you're able to get some airflow underneath, which is going to allow for some cooking to happen underneath. So I would recommend using those pans that come with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that Nicole just raised, is that it does increase the air circulation, but also keep in mind, if you think about the center of a microwave, or if you think about the center of a microwave and a convection oven, there is a little black plastic knob in there that actually runs your rotisserie. And as Nicole takes this out, she's going to use hot pads just like you would in your normal traditional oven at home or in your RV. So the downside to that is that if you set it directly on that, it can potentially melt that. So you want to use the racks, like Nicole mentioned, primarily to maximize that air circulation, but also to protect your investment. But great question. Keep those questions coming in.
We've got less than a minute, so I'm gonna get this on. I was showing Ron I've got a little bit of a scar here from using the convection oven this weekend. So, you know, it's easy for us to forget. It's not a microwave. It gets very hot on the inside, and because you've got a little bit less space than your regular oven, make sure to use your oven mitt and protect those hands and arms. So, all right, 28 seconds. I'm getting anxious. I'm excited to see how this is turning out.
And she knows I'm going to taste it.
All right, it looks pretty awesome. And I'll give you a little bit of a view there, Josh.
All right, let's go ahead and jump in. So this is orange roughy. Thoroughly cooked. Browned on the outside, and actually almost a little bit crispy. So probably could have stayed in maybe another minute or so, but the outside edges are wonderful. So nice job.
Great.
That's
so,
really cool. You went high end.
Woo! 11 minutes and 30 seconds for this, and we were at, what did we say, 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So really quick, easy way to do a meal here. All right, I also want to get started. We are going to do some brownies.
All right, let me help you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
While I get those brownies ready, Nicole, a question. Are some foods better to prepare than others? Are there certain foods that you should stay away from?
You know, I think that there's quite a different mindset on the internet. You've got some people who swear that they can do pies, cakes, and then you have others that say if you want that really chewy cookie, you're not going to get it from a convection oven. You're going to want your standard oven. However, I think it's what you preference, what you like, and your experience with it. So I would say don't shy away from anything. Just know you're going to have a little bit of a learning curve, and that's okay. We've got an egg yet to put in there.
Yeah, and as Nicole does that, I'll just touch on that as well. There are some theories out there. I hear this from our viewers. I hear this from guests here in our RV facility, but also just from being out in the resorts and campgrounds. There are some theories out there that utilizing a convection oven does have a slight tendency to dry out foods. The only reason for that is because of that air circulation, so it does have a tendency to potentially do that. But I would literally try everything, and we're going to find out here whether or not Nicole's brownies are moist or not. But I would first of all and foremost, I would try literally everything. I'm not so certain I would probably jump right out there and do some red meats or some pork that you really want to try to stay moist. We're going to find out with some baking items here in a second. But again, just to further touch on that question, there are some theories out there that utilizing a convection oven can have a tendency to dry things out. But I think you're really splitting hairs as you think about that.
All right, now because we're using smaller pans, we're going to want to half this batch. And I've actually got two of these very cute heart pans, and I think that Ron, you need to take one of these home for Hope tonight. So that
I'll take the finished product.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, we've got our heart-shaped brownie pan. Again, we just push the convection mode button. Select temp. And these are not homemade, I gotta admit. So let's see, bake at 350 degrees.
But they are Pillsbury, where I used to work.
Absolutely. And we're gonna reduce the time on these. So we're gonna go 350 degrees. It's just one button, it's number 6 on the button it says 350 degrees. And enter time, we're gonna shoot for about 13 minutes.
And we're off and running.
That easy. So, you know, people get kind of nervous about convection oven. That is probably one of the biggest things I hear when we're walking through a coach and they get to this and they say, well, where's the oven? And we talk about that convection oven. And yet, here we are, it's very, very simple.
Yep. Nice job so far. Josh, I saw we had a couple other questions come in. Let's cover those as we're waiting for some Pillsbury chocolate chunk brownies.
I know. These are better than any homemade brownies I can make. I promise you that.
Good time to, one chatter asked if we could just review the 25% rule again, and it's so important, it seems like a good thing to touch on again.
Absolutely. So either reduce the temperature by 25% or reduce the time by 25%.
And another question we have up, do all new Itascas have the Powerline Energy Management System?
Ooh, good question. You're going to upward delegate that one, aren't you? Okay, so the Powerline Energy Management System that I'm referring to actually has a little LED display on it that will actually tell you how many amps you're pulling in your current RV. Typically, you only find those in motor coaches that are equipped with 30 and 50 amp service and typically with 2 air conditioners. Now, some of Winnebago's smaller coaches, roughly between kind of that 27 to about 35 foot length, some of those actually have an energy management system built in without the LED panel, but what they actually do is that if you jump over a certain number of amps, it'll actually just turn your water heater off temporarily to conserve amperage. Then once power is restored, it actually turns the water heater back on. So really great question. It depends on the floor plan, depends on the model. Typically it's generated around the number of air conditioners, the length, and the floor plan. So just check with any of our factory trained consultants and we can certainly just look real quickly in the literature to determine whether or not it's actually part of your RV. But great question. Keep those questions coming in.
You know, Ron, as I was thinking about my favorite recipe and I came up with the egg bake, one of the few casseroles I do make. Is there any special tradition that you guys have? You guys are big breakfasts. You know, you love.
We're big breakfast people, especially on the weekends. We do a lot of breakfast pizzas. We've experimented with some homemade ones, but those are great to just throw in the convection oven. They actually make them in miniature styles. My wife Hope is a wonderful cook in the kitchen. I'm kind of the griller outside. We've actually done a lot of chicken and pork inside a convection oven. We haven't done any red meat because we typically prefer to have it grilled. But we've done a lot of different things. I have personally not noticed the fact that some of the foods tend to be dried out according to all of the internet chatter that's out there. But just like Nicole said earlier, experiment with everything. I mean, that's what this is all about, is out there having fun and figuring out what to do, what not to do, and just experimentation. So
cool. A couple questions as it relates to the microwave. Do you need a cool down period after using the convection oven before you then use the microwave?
Great question. Yes, you do have a cool down period.
great question.
Yeah, that really is. Now I've noticed some models, like the one in our break room, actually has a fan that vents out quite a bit of air, and you can go immediately into microwave usage, but you'll notice that fan comes on very quickly. These I don't believe, I think you've got to let them air out. Just, you know, take some time for it to cool down a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of the oversized residential convection ovens, if you have one of those in your home, that fan will actually turn on automatically, and it's doing that to cool down the convection oven. Inside the RVs, these, to my knowledge, at least, you know, this is a Sharp model. These typically do not have that automatic, but you can certainly turn it on. The other thing to note is they do generate heat like a normal oven, and if you're around your traditional LP oven that you might have had in a previous camper, you'll notice that tends to generate a little bit of heat. I just noticed we've been on this webcast now for close to about 20 to 25 minutes. The indoor air temperature did jump up about 1 or 2 degrees, so I just kicked the air back on and we've got some more air circulating, and now it's real comfortable inside the kitchen area. But again, some of the residential ones will automatically turn on. This particular one will actually vent as it's running. And as Nicole mentioned, with the RV convection ovens, it's a good rule of thumb to go ahead and let it cool down before you throw it back into microwave mode.
Absolutely.
All right, a couple more questions. Can you put convection ovens in place of a microwave?
Oh, good question. Actually, we have done that. The issue that you run into, and really the only issue, is whether or not you have the proper amount of depth, because typically convection ovens are actually deeper than a normal microwave oven, and the reason for it is just as we touched on earlier. There's a blower fan in there that throws that air around to recirculate the heat that's generated from the convection technology. So they're typically a little bit deeper. We certainly have retrofitted. They certainly just plug right into a traditional 110 volt outlet, just like your normal microwave oven. So if there's room, we can do it.
Is there a grill mode, and how can they use the grill mode if there is one?
Oh, good question.
Well, it's about
I've never used it. I'm going to be honest with you.
It is just a matter of pushing that grill button. I was looking on this one, and I do not believe, does it have it on this one? I do not see it on this one. However, I have seen it on some others. And it's, again, as simple as what you've witnessed Ron and I as we just push the buttons. So
a lot of times that comes with the grillware or the bakeware as opposed to the actual convection oven itself, because if you're thinking about that from what you might have done in a residential appliance that you might have done in your home, typically that bakeware or grillware is specialized ware that either comes with the convection oven or the oven, or that you can just purchase. So as long as it fits and as long as you're just utilizing it like a traditional oven, go for it.
absolutely.
All right, maybe a question that, Nicole, you found an answer to when you were doing your research. Can the dryness from cooking be eliminated somewhat by using a lid or foil?
Ooh, do not use a lid. You don't want to. I read somewhere that it will create a vacuum, and you will not get that hot air in there. So I would just say, you're going to want to watch your temperatures. Again, you're playing around with it. Maybe decrease the temperature a little bit if you're wanting to avoid that dryness. But I did read that it was not good to have a lid on.
And I think that dryness in foods really tends to be overstated. In a lot of cases, as true with any kind of internet chatter, typically you tend to hear much more of the negative, and then you have to actually rationalize in your mind if it's true or not. My family, we've RV'd for a long time, and to be honest with you, when we've done brownies, cookies, things like that, we haven't noticed any dryness. Now again, I haven't done anything with respect to red meat, but with respect to chicken and pork and some of the things that we've done, I really haven't noticed anything, and I think you're kind of splitting hairs if you think that all convection food is dry, because it's not. So, but we're going to find out. We're going to put the Pillsbury Doughgirls test here coming up.
All right, a question about what's the largest size cake pan that can be used? Can a Dutch oven style pot be used, or would it maybe be too tall?
Ooh, good question.
I think you could. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that on a Dutch oven, you've got those higher sides. One tip that I read was try and keep your pan size at 1.5 inches or less. So as you're thinking about a Dutch oven, that's got some high walls or sides, and you want that air ventilation to be going all the way around the pan. One reason why I suggest something very shallow like this. But again, try it. You may find that your preference works. I just wouldn't use, again, a lid.
Good questions.
Great questions.
Really great question.
Absolutely.
So again, you look at some of the internet chatter, and you see some of the things that maybe people are negative about, and then you weigh the fact that, one, is it real? But the second is, look at all the storage I've freed up with a convection oven. So, I mean, that's really the advantage to it. And really our goal today, as we've got about 4 minutes left here on the Brownies, was really just to demonstrate how easy it is to use a convection oven, because it's kind of one of those unknowns, especially as we do a lot of educational orientations a year. It's one of those unknowns about, it's kind of one of those fears that an RVer has is how do I use it and what do I do? And I think a good rule of thumb, as Nicole mentioned earlier, is take all of your recipes that you'd use in your home, take them on the road, experiment with them, maybe knock 25% off the temperature and 25% off the cooking time out of the gate just to give it a whirl, to give it a try, and get out there and experiment.
Absolutely.
So you'll see a lot of different types of convection ovens. This is an oversized Class A style microwave and convection oven. This is a stainless steel version. We actually have those that are in the black facade, which are utilized in some of our smaller coaches, especially a lot of our fuel efficient sprinters now have convection ovens in them. There is a third type of microwave versus convection oven, and in a lot of our diesel pushers, now we actually utilize what's called a speed cook oven. So if you currently have a high-end diesel pusher that has a speed cook oven, you know what it is. However, if you're looking at one, a speed cook oven basically takes a microwave, bundles it together with a convection oven, but then also builds in halogen lighting actually as a way of bringing in a third source of heat, merging those three technologies to actually provide an even more radiant source of heat. So that's what a speed cook oven is if you're looking at some of our diesel pushers that we offer in the Journey Meridian Tour and Ellipse line from Winnebago Industries, both on the Winnebago side as well as on the Itasca side.
All right, we had another question pop up asking if there will be any cooking convection classes at Rally this year.
Ah,
Wow, that is a great question.
wouldn't that be fun? Maybe I should teach.
You're going to be working. So actually, there is a class in the seminar schedule that is the convection oven class. I believe in the past they've done it at River Oaks, which is actually the former clubhouse that's out on the rally grounds. So they offer that. But you know, to be honest with you, I think they're going to cover a lot of the same things that we have here. I know that they'll have some pointers because there are a lot of experienced RVers out at the Grand National Rally. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what the Grand National Rally is, Winnebago Industries actually has a Travelers Club, which is the WIT Club, or the Winnebago Itasca Travelers Club. They've rebranded that now that we offer the towables divisions, but the WIT Club is a Travelers Club, and really the only price of admission is that you actually have to own a Winnebago Industries product. You then get the opportunity to go on caravans, state rallies, subchapter rallies. But the Grand National Rally is a week-long celebration held here in Forest City at the rally grounds. And Forest City, Iowa will literally double in size. So we'll have upwards of 1,700 to 1,800 RVs in town for a week-long celebration of seminars, I want you to burn your brownies, of seminars, entertainment, wonderful entertainment. Some of our suppliers and vendors will be there doing different types of seminars and education. So it's a wonderful week-long celebration in mid-July. You can check it out on the WIT Club site, but that's one of the seminars that they were referring to. So they do always have that convection oven cooking class, and with all due respect to the people that are out there, they are experienced RVers. So if you want to get the best of tips and tricks, the Grand National Rally is actually just a wonderful event that Winnebago Industries, along with a lot of their valued partners, will put on during that July timeframe. This year it actually coincides with Forest City's Town Festival Pucker Rush Days, so it's going to be a wonderful week here in Forest City for the WIT Club. And again, the only thing that you have to do to be able to attend is to be a Winnebago Industries owner. So it's a wonderful service that Winnebago provides. Great question though.
All right, as you can see, I just checked the brownies, stuck a fork in the middle. It's still a little gooey, so I put it back in for another 3 minutes, and I think we're gonna have ourselves a pan of delicious brownies.
Cool. So Nicole touched on, she did the egg bake. We actually did that earlier, and we did that inside and actually browned really, really well. We've done orange roughy, which is seafood. We're actually cooking some brownies right now, and literally I think just about anything that you can fit inside a convection oven that you would normally do in a traditional oven, you can certainly do in your RV, and also benefit from the fact that you get additional storage. Some of our RVs actually will still have a traditional oven and a convection oven, though. Just depends on the floor plan and how the owner or the previous owner actually equipped the coach.
I have to tell you, this weekend I made a birthday cake for my son. He turned 13, and so using these heart shape, I did a double layer funfetti cake using the convection oven in an RV. So you can get kind of gourmet with this. I don't know if gourmet out of the box counts, but we'll go with it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I bet he loved the fact that you brought out those heart-shaped tins for all of his friends.
13-year-olds, yeah. Anyways, he was glad just to have a awesome cake, heart-shaped.
But the point is, you had fun doing it. And when you're out
Absolutely.
RVing, you can take all the conveniences that you have on the road with you. And if you're doing a birthday celebration, I've got one coming up midsummer where my little 7-year-old wants to take a bunch of his friends in an RV, and Lord willing, we get through it with sanity. But I mean, a lot of those different types of things that you do in your own personal home, you can get out on the road in a mobile environment and literally do anywhere.
Well, and like you said, the fun isn't eating the cake, it's making the cake. I had all 3 of my kids, and we were having fun in the RV making this cake. It was a great time. So with your kids, with your grandkids, you can really just make those memories for the kids.
Yeah, and touching on that, I know Nicole may have done that at home, and she may have been in her driveway, but one question we actually do get, typically from a prospect guest that's looking at a coach and they see that it has a convection oven. One of the questions that we get is, how do I power it? Which is a really good question, and I'll invite you to cover that as I keep an eye on the timer.
Absolutely. Well, it's electrical power, so just make sure you're plugged in. However, you also have your inverter, so you're able to run it if you don't have the ability to be plugged in. So
Yep, great simple answer. And really the logic there is you just have to have electricity, because on the back side of this just plugs into a traditional 110 volt outlet. So as long as you have electricity to your coach, which could be provided a couple of different ways. One, obviously from plugging in. So if you're plugged in, you have power to the coach. The second is if you're running your generator, and if you have a generator box, if it's plugged in and you have electricity to the coach, you can certainly do that as well. This particular coach that we're in, this Itasca Ellipse, this actually does have a 2,000 watt inverter. And with all of Winnebago Industries products, the microwave and convection oven, as well as a speed cook oven, is tied into the inverter. Now, that's typically only on those coaches that do have a 2,000 watt inverter and higher. So we could literally be traveling down the road, not running our generator, and cooking a pan of brownies at the same time. I don't recommend it unless you're very, very talented and have a lot of support staff, but as long as you turn that inverter on, you'll have 110 volt power to all of the outlets, of which one of those is the microwave and convection oven. So the advantage there is you can also be utilizing that as you're dry camping or hotel camping. So if you do a lot of hotel camping where you may just be going from city rest stop to Walmart to wherever, and they have no generator rules, if you have that 2,000 watt inverter, your microwave and convection oven will be hot directly off of your RV battery. So a lot of different ways that you can power it.
All right, so 3 minutes, that's all it took, and we have got a finished brownie here. I'm excited to try it, however it is a little warm. So as you know, if you bake, you do want to let it cool, but it is cooked all the way through.
It is cooked all the way through, and actually I'm kind of a critic of brownies, and you can actually see that it is moist on the inside. So we're going to go ahead and let that cool down. Josh, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, we do have a few questions. What model RV are we in right now?
This is actually an Itasca by Winnebago Ellipse. These guests came in last week and took delivery of a new Winnebago Journey 36M. These guests were from the state of Ohio. This is an Itasca Ellipse. The reason why we chose to utilize this unit is because of the opposing slides. So it really opened up for this interactive presentation. The other reason is because it is pre-owned, so we don't have to provide any type of a semblance of an odor for all of our factory fresh coaches. So this is an Itasca Ellipse 40FD from Winnebago Industries, which Josh actually was just photo shooting this morning. So those will be live here momentarily on our website.
Is there a general reason the stove and convection oven don't vent to the outside, or do some actually vent?
No, they actually vent both ways. So I mean, you actually have some that will actually vent out the back. A lot of times with the convection blowers, you'll find them actually coming out the front. But it just depends on the floor plan and the model and the style of microwave and convection oven as to whether Winnebago actually ties it out the sidewall.
That's it for questions for right now.
All right, well, I tell you what, there's a lot of different ways that you all can get in touch with us if you have additional questions. You can very simply just hit the Contact Us button on our website. If you're looking at a particular RV, whether it be new or pre-owned, there's a little link on there that says Contact Sales. You can ask a question that way. We have live, active, monitored chat right on our website. So Nicole, myself, and 5 other factory-trained consultants are staffing that throughout the day. So we can take questions that way. You can call us toll-free at 1-800-343-6255. So again, you can send us an email, sales@Lichtsinn.com, info@Lichtsinn, whatever you prefer. You can jump on the Contact Us button on our website. A lot of different ways that you can get in touch with us for additional questions. Nicole, thank you. You did a wonderful job.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for the opportunity.
And I'm anxious to try
I think we
the
should,
rest of the Go ahead.
I don't think we should share these brownies today. Let's just stay right in here, the 3 of us, and finish this pan of brownies.
We have. I see about 3 or 4 guests inside our new lounge that I'm sure would be very happy.
I think they'd be excited to
also
give
get the
our
storylines behind it.
There we go. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We had a good time.
Yeah, thanks again. And again, if you have topics in the future that you want to see as part of these webcasts, feel free to just shoot us a note. We will bake those, no pun intended. We will include those in our future agendas for live webcasts. So be sure to join us next month. We typically do these around the third Wednesday of each month. But again, keep in mind that we can do these at any point in time with any of our factory trained consultants on any of our in-stock RVs right here in our marketing bay within our new RV dealership. So again, I hope everyone enjoyed a wonderful Memorial Day holiday. Get out there, go RVing, and again, thank you for tuning in today.